Dark world. In other words, it's completely dark. What comes to mind when individuals hear the word darkness? Darkness. Emptiness. There may be a ton more stuff. It could represent hopelessness to certain people. Some people could keep looking for the light to push past their sorrow. We must keep in mind, though, that light and darkness are always opposite each other. In the shadows was a boy, perhaps 10 years old. He was confined to a room that was almost completely dark. It happened because he disobeyed what his parents had instructed him. The boy's parents tried to introduce him to his prospective spouse, but he turned them down. Would you take such action for that reason alone? The boy was aware of his parents' strategy, though. This is why he declined. The fact that their strategy had failed infuriated the parents more than the boy rebelling. The boy was later imprisoned in a dimly lit cellar, yet he showed no remorse. The boy entered the room and sat down on a rickety bed in the corner. Even when he is the sole one in an almost pitch-black room, he doesn't exhibit any dread. Instead, he appears to believe that it is fine the way it is. The boy felt a presence in front of him even though no one was present and looked up. He noticed a woman with long, jet-black hair and a jet-black outfit. The woman asks, "Will you accompany me?" The boy declined the woman's request. "I'm good as I am." "Are you planning to stay in this completely dark room the entire time?" "That's fine, too," he said. "What a peculiar boy." She addressed the boy while standing in front of him. "My name is ᎢℋᎪNոչ. I represent the goddess of sadness and fear." Normally, hearing this would make people cringe. Because ᎢℋᎪNոչ is a goddess of sadness and fear who rules evil. The boy was aware of this, but he wasn't especially moved. "Now, decide whether to go with me or perish in this place." As she said this, she pointed the enormous scythe in the boy's direction, but the boy's expression was unaffected by what he witnessed. "I told you before, correct? I am capable of continuing. You have no right to make a decision. I'll ask you once more. Choose between staying here and dying or leaving with me." After saying that, ᎢℋᎪNոչ pulled the scythe so close to the boy that if she moved even slightly, it would slice him in half. The boy didn't exhibit any fear, though. "Why is everyone doing that and is taking away my life easy?" ᎢℋᎪNոչ approached the boy without showing her annoyance when he inquired. "Be quiet. Reply to my question." After saying that, she utilized magic to elevate the boy, immobilizing him. "Big sister, is that all you have to say?" The boy was completely emotionless. "What? Sister, you are free to do as you choose. It wouldn't be enjoyable to murder me because I don't think it would be humorous if something like this were done to me. You." The boy got up and sat on the bed without thinking about it as ᎢℋᎪNոչ grew angrier, released the power and dropped the boy. "I decided to live in the dark before I was placed here." "What do you mean, living in the dark? Aren't you frightened of the dark?" When ᎢℋᎪNոչ asked him this, the boy responded, "I feel comfortable in the dark because it's quiet. Try to live if you can in this lifeless darkness." ᎢℋᎪNոչ said that and then vanished from the boy's view. "That's what I want to do. And nobody will stand in my way." The boy who said that was immersed in what appeared to be a pitch-black cloud. The boy stayed motionless despite the fog, as though he were unperturbed. The boy's mother brought him food 3 times a day, but other than eating it, he did not move. When she spoke to him, he did nothing except reply. "It appears that you are in no way sorry for what you did. If you don't feel remorse, you won't be leaving this place." The boy did not comment in response to whatever his mother stated. The mother left without saying anything further because she believed there was no use in addressing the boy's actions. Something like black mist burst from the boy's body and covered his entire body as if they were aiming for him when he was alone, but the boy didn't appear to notice. "Huh. You won't even move if a dense fog is surrounding you." ᎢℋᎪNոչ was observing the youngster via the crystal ball, but it appeared that she was struggling with him because the boy had not altered in any way. "Now, I'm curious how long he'll be in that room." The discussion between the boy's parents was taking place in the living room. However, one day, as usual, the boy's mother brought him supper. "It has been 2 months, don't you think it's time for you to feel remorse now?" She yelled at him and made an effort to figure out what was happening. "Huh? Where?" She couldn't understand what was happening. There was no sign of the boy in the bed or anywhere else in the room. So, where did he go? His mother quickly informed his father while returning to the living room. What? He's disappeared. Where is he? That's unbelievable. There doesn't even seem to be a hole in the wall. They search for him. I am here. The voice of a young boy could be heard outside the window. How'd you manage that? A completely black cloak covered the boy's head. Why are you floating? The boy was floating, not standing on the earth. I turned into a demon king, utilizing the evil goddess strength. Left double quotation mark. He then entered the house through the window and came into the living room. When his parents saw it, they were appalled. I won't do anything, so don't worry. I declined that marriage proposal because I was aware of your plans. They want the boy to marry into a rich family so they can inherit their wealth. By coincidence, the other side learned about this and decided not to marry her since he didn't want it. There's no use trying to put everything back together. As soon as I said I wouldn't marry her, I told them about your plans. What? What did you do? That's all I've got to tell. I'm leaving this place and I'll never return. The boy then appeared to fly out the living room window as he floated away from the house. His parents were upset and stayed put. The family went bankrupt with significant debts less than 6 months after this tragedy. Several years later, one night. What? A woman in her late teens was being pursued by various men. Wait. We take you to a wonderful place. I said I won't be going. Ah. The woman attempted to flee for her life, but one of his pals stood in her way. No, you are unable to flee, are you? The woman believed she was finished. But. What are you doing? With those words, a man in a black robe descended to defend the woman. Oh, nothing. They have been hearing about the demon king of the night for a while now, and this is him. If you run across this guy, the next morning you'll be worshipping him in hell. We are completely aware. We won't do anything. As they spoke, his right hand held a sizable sickle with a razor-sharp blade. This grim reaper's scythe will damn everyone to hell. Those men fled after trembling hysterically and becoming pale for the first time. The women are also being reserved. The sickle vanished as the demon king turned around. Going outside alone at this time is risky. Go home immediately. After saying this, he moved away from the woman and leapt to his feet. After being shocked by the demon king's axe, the woman went back home. Upon further reflection, he seemed familiar. Damn, that person is acting almighty, like he always does. Ğeğre had a bitter look on her face as she observed the demon king's axe through the crystal ball. Ğeğre tried to make the boy one of her friends a few years ago, but the boy rejected her and was unmoved even when he was engulfed in a thick mist. The boy was still Ğeğre's property, so she gave him evil abilities and turned him into a demon king. The boy's heart did not belong to Ğeğre, therefore she was forced to take the ground since he was not in the least bit intimidated by the terror of total darkness or by the misery of being alone. On the contrary, the boy who would grow up to be the demon king was stripped of her abilities and imprisoned in the demon realm, making it difficult for her to interact with people. She is therefore limited to viewing the demon king activities through the crystal ball that has been set in front of her. The demon king landed on top of the highest steel tower in the community and peered up into the sky. I'm still grateful to you, Ğeğre, for bestowing upon me the authority of a demon king. I can live in the darkness like this because of you. After a couple of days. In the city at night, 3 men captured a woman. What? Be my woman, please. I don't like you. I don't even want to see your face. Despite being grabbed, she said as she desperately fought. Don't go off the rails. If I get extremely upset, I'll show you what will happen. He pointed a knife at the woman as he said this and took it out of his pocket. Are you implying that you intend to murder me here? I know you won't be able to completely own me if you do that, but is that okay? When she noticed the knife, the woman didn't appear to be afraid. He attempted to stab the woman since he was so furious, but he was unsuccessful. A hand stopped him just then, reaching out from the side. What? Ah. The men were taken aback when they followed the extended hand and noticed his face. Are you repeating this? It appears that you won't learn until after you enter hell. Oh, you. What is this demon king of the night? Because they were terrified, the men let go of the woman and fled the area like a swarm of spitterlings. Ah, that. You're a person from yesterday. I previously warned you against going for a nighttime stroll. I thought it was only for a short while, it would be fine. Simply just that few minutes, anything could happen. Go home. As he attempts to go. Perhaps are you Roman? He was forced to stop in his tracks by the woman's question. Why that name, exactly? Vera. Does this name ring a bell? The woman approached him while listening. Vera. The Demon King thought the name of the woman seemed familiar. The woman you were supposed to marry. The Demon Lord was taken aback. I see, now it's already in the past. As you can see, I am the Demon King. I've been interested in it for a while. Since we called off the engagement, I haven't heard anything. The Demon King said that he had been imprisoned ever since and that the dark goddess who had arrived at that time had given him the ability to become the Demon King. Vera was shocked to learn this. Typically, a Demon King is someone who rules the world by engulfing it in darkness. The Demon King right here didn't do that. Instead, it appeared as though he dominated this metropolis at night. Typically, it would also regulate the lighting. Normally, you'd act in that way. But after being locked up, I decided to live in the shadows. You should therefore move on from me and live in the light. After saying that, the Demon King took to the skies. Vera said, "Thank you, Roma. Goodbye," and went home. The Demon King said in a low voice. Be happy. Vera married a few years later, and she had a son. In the hopes of living in a world of light, she gave the infant the name Light. She seemed to believe that Roman was the reason she could live in the light. Roman continued to behave strangely even though he was now regarded by the populace as a demon king and a monster of the night. What does it mean to live in the darkness exactly? Although it appears that the solution has not yet been discovered, it appears that he will eventually rule the demon realm. End of story.